Yo, 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 what's up, Incorporation Nation? It's your boy, Isaac Anzu, the bossest chimera, the best boss you'll never have. That's what it is. Back with my high-powered jazz and Blender again today. I forgot to pull up a tutorial. Today, we're learning more Blender. I watched a video where they talked about how they make animation in Blender, and it involves putting lots of layers on things, right? So today we're going to watch a video called, this is another Joey Carlino video, of course. We cannot go the stream without our good boy Joey Carlino guiding the way. This is called Camera Tips and Tricks. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our test rig here. Look at this guy go. Don't forget that we made 2 other dances. And today, instead of just outputting this as a silly little video, we're going to try to make it a professional silly little video. That's right. Today's stream is brought to you by the Electromagnetic Spectrum, and we're going to be utilizing it to its full capabilities today. So, Blue is going to be demonstrating the visible spectrum for us on the couch over there. And we are going to be using the electromagnetic spectrum to make magic. Anyway, I also had to redo my entire audio setup. So, I was having difficulty in Discord, where I would like try to talk on Discord and then it wouldn't work. Normal Discord stuff. And it turns out that the problem wasn't Discord at all. It was Voicemeeter, the application that I use to push audio through different channels. Oh, Voicemeeter, you're so struggling. Anyway, I re-downloaded Voicemeeter. It turns out there was a lot of updates. It doesn't auto-update. Why? But I had to redo all my audio channels, and that includes for OBS. I know that you can hear me now, and I'm hoping that the music is not getting picked up by the VOD. It shouldn't be. I think I've said it that way specifically. Anyway, bum 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 ba-doo ba-doo ba bum bum ba-doo ba-doo ba boom boom ba-doo ba-doo boo bum bum ba-doo ba-doo ba. That is John Coltrane's Blue Train. That's right. More high-powered jazz for our high-powered business office. And so far, nobody has purchased the AI NFT of an Isaac coin, which is so sad. I'll get rich someday. I mean, you'll get rich if you hit that button. It's not like I hoard the channel points like a a dragon in my library, all the facts that I can collect. Why am I yawning so much? Yeah. Probably because yesterday was exhausting. Whew. I had 2 meetings and then I had a ton of stuff to do. And then I thought I was going to go out and get dinner with a friend, but he is sick or something. So it was a long day. And now here I am at the beginning of a new day. And I'm tired as hell. So today, hopefully I'll get to rest, but maybe I'll have to work. Blah. Because there's just a lot of work to do at my job recently. So it goes. I've already had 3 meetings this week. And as a work from homer, that's a lot of meetings. Woo! I know some of y'all who work in the office, like this office that I'm in right now, do like 3 meetings a day. But yeah, my job is remote, so 3 meetings is like, wow, what a wild week. I still have more meetings this week, in fact, and normally I have like 1, just a check-in meeting, just a little let's check in and go over the stuff meeting. All right. Cyber Dragon Wolf 34, welcome. What's up, y'all? How's the? Here's the question of the day. How's the audio levels? Because I had to redo my whole damn audio setup, and now I'm weirdly nervous about it. It is okay. All right. What about this tutorial video?
In this one, I'll be talking about some camera tricks that might help you control your camera a little more easily. Here's a summary of what we'll talk about. Each topic will have its own timestamp, so you can skip around if you want to do that. First, we'll look at camera display options like overlays, focal length, and shifting.
Ooh.
Then we'll talk about creating a pivot point so you can easily orbit around objects. I'll show you how to track your camera.
Scared you, didn't I? Just the other day. Yeah. Yes. I have the I can run it, I guess. But I have a Twitch. Well, I have a Twitch event. I have an event when my channel is followed. It goes like this. Like that. See? But the thing is, it isn't actually through Twitch or OBS. It's through Mix It Up. Which is pretty much always running on my computer when I'm on. So I was just doing my own thing, and all of a sudden I hear out of nowhere, and that was scary. A little bit of a mini heart attack there.
Camera to moving objects and how you can switch focus from one object to another. We'll cover auto keying for an easy way to create a handheld look. I'll quickly go over how to make a dolly zoom effect like this, how to add camera shake, and last I'll show you how to switch from one camera to another. Before I get started,
Yo, actually, wait. This is like insane. Joey Carlino, you're destroying my worldview once again.
I'd like to say thank you to all those who downloaded things from my Gumroad shop recently. Until I set up a Patreon account, Gumroad is the best way to show your support. So if you like my content, take a look around the shop. Some of my stuff over there is free. All right, let's get started. So here we are in Blender 2.93. This should work in a lot of the previous versions of Blender though, so the version number doesn't matter too much. You can say I have a scene set up. You're going to want to make sure you have a camera if you're following along and something to focus on. And you can say I also have these move gizmos to work with. And if you want those too, you can just go up here to the gizmos option and click.
Let's make sure we're in object mode. There we go. Oh, he's got like a camera pivot. Okay. We're gonna make this guy look incredible with camera motion and lighting. Joey Carlino, why am I not subscribed to you? Thank you. Thank you for your patronage. Joey Carlino, do you have a video on lighting? He's got a whole playlist on shader nodes. Holy shit, this guy's incredible. We might be getting too far ahead of ourselves. I really like this guy's tutorials. Oh, dang. We didn't mean to cause a fright. No worries. It's like it's like getting surprised with a gift, right? Oh. I'm not supposed to be scared at all. I'm supposed to be thankful. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. So the good and the bad, they're equal in weight. What the hell is this view? Just lock me. The coolest thing to do would be to put this to some sort of like music, like the music at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen season 1, whatever that song is called. Tokyo Dreamin', something like that. All I know is that there's a really good mashup with that and Walk the Moon. That's all I know. Can I see things? There we go. All right, let's keep watching this video.
The drop down and set this to move, you can see, so it adds those arrows for you.
Oh yeah. Give me the move gizmos.
And also you can see up here, I have a second viewport that's always looking through the camera. So you can see what the camera is seeing as I...
Oh, okay. All right. I do like that. Let's, what is this? Horizontal split. There we go. And then we can set this to be, what is this? Viewport.
I move it around like that.
Once he got this set up, his scene collection is like that. That's cool. Now, what happens if we move the camera? Cool. So this up here will always show me where the there we go. Just swap those. This up here, this here will always show me where the view is.
Okay, so first we'll talk about some display options. So what you want to do is just click on your camera, and you can see down here we have a little camera button. It's called Object Data Properties. You can click on that, and you can see we have a bunch of options here, like focal length. You can see if I turn this down, you're getting kind of a more like wide angle lens effect. You can change this to orthographic and panoramic. Panoramic is something that only works with cycles right now, I believe, so keep that in mind.
Orthographic. Wild. Panoramic. Perspective. Let's, while we're in object mode, let's add a surface for this guy to dance on. And then maybe just another plane that we can rotate along the X 90 degrees. Just grab that and move that along the Y and scale it up as well. Looking good. Looking good. Let's add materials to these, shall we? New material. Let's call this wall. Looking good. And then this new material will be called floor. And we can move that up a bit. Just big old planes. Colored planes. So now, let's click back on the camera and try these different. So that gives an interesting viewpoint. Panoramic. Ooh, look at that. Pew, 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 pew. Do, 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 do. Shake that hip. Focus on the hip. But then we can also do perspective. Perspective does a similar thing to panoramic.
And then we have shifting and clipping, which I'll talk about shortly. You can see we have depth of field, all that. Under viewport display, if you set this to limits, this is...
All right. He's going through this quickly as if I know what the hell he's talking about. Let's talk about depth of field. Focus on object, object test character. All right. Doesn't seem to change too much from the perspective thing. Oh, interesting. Makes it more blurry.
Basically used for like depth of field. You can see when I change the focus distance, this is going to move also. And we have these other options also, just like, you know, how big your camera looks visually. And this other one called Passepartout, I believe is how you pronounce it. And when you look through your camera with 0, you can see when you turn it down, you can see outside of your frame. I like to turn this all the way up. That's just a personal preference. And we also have composition guides if you want overlays like that. Something to like reference when you're lining up shots for composition and stuff. All right, so let's talk a little about shifting and
thirds. Limits. Oh, yo, what's up, Corey? Hey, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Helldivers 2, how was the fight for democracy? Hope your evening is going well. Thank you for the raid. Oh, I still have the old. Oh, so many things to update. Pretty good, man. Good. Wonderful. Friendly fire kept to a low. That's good. Is that an important thing in Helldivers 2? Also, hello, Ray. It's a stat. Oh, I see. Hi, Isaac. Hi, Ray. This place looking like a Philippine flag over here. Is it? I'm bad at flags. Let's look it up. Oh, it is, isn't it? The Philippines, the flag. Almost. Blue and red. Not quite in the right order, though. You know, if I've learned anything from our vexillology, it's that the order of the colors matters a whole hell of a lot. I know my flag anyway. That's fair. I was mostly going for the primary colors of the visual light spectrum, since today's stream is brought to you by the Electromagnetic Spectrum. So we got to represent. But I'm glad friendly fire was kept to a minimum. That's important. Do you have a crew that you play with, or are you doing like little randoms? Fun fact, if you switch the colors of the flag, it'll become a war flag or a war declaration flag. Good. We're declaring war today. Today we declare war on Deadass. I declared war on that ass. Democracy can't be spread with only a few, and not really just randoms. See, I also play with randoms on my game of choice, which is that DRG, but I long for a crew to chill with. Boy, is that muffin ass. I cannot claim to be the one who sculpted this ass. I can claim to be the one who animated this dance, though. That is the most I can do. How are you, Layla Isaac? I'm doing well. Just my wife is recovering from illness, so I'm doing my best to not get sick either. Have you seen this Shmoo R34 you made? Oh God. Did you post it in the Cursed Castle? Or is there a it's in the theater somewhere? The theater. Now hold up a second. Turns out there's a lot of roles that I could have on Beniculus server that I don't have. What? What's your... Okay. Let's just mute this channel. You're talking about on your server. The theater. The Pirate Cove? Oh my gosh. Having so many discords is ridiculous. Want me to share it with the spoiler? I don't feel like people would get it in my server. Shmoo is very much a Benicula thing. All hail mighty Sir Isaac, ignorer of Dolu's greetings. No, what? Collector of Discord servers. Oh my goodness. Hi, Dolu. Thank you for saying another greeting. All hail mighty Sir Isaac, ambassador of the Electromagnetic Spectrum, declarer of war, seeker of a crew, unclaimant of a dancer's ass. That is true. I do not claim this ass. I can't claim this ass. Also, hello, Magellian. Look at him go. How are you tonight, Dolu? And Lumi, does Lumi like spicy noodles? Not really. But as Americans, we have our own are you showing off anything to me? Do I want to see this? Busy at office work. Days 1 to 10 are like live, breathe, and sleep in office work. Oh, yep. I understand completely. Work is really busy right now because it's month end. Yeah. Time to do all of the stuff from the end of the month. It's just this one's funny. It's just Shmoo with a big ass. Do I? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to see that. I mean, I'll look at it. Just send it to me in a DM, not on the Discord. I will observe. I cannot say that I am an ass man. It's a shame, really. Like, this does nothing for me. Now, hips, though, them hips don't lie. March is year closing for us. Ah, okay, fiscal year, dang. March and April will be not stressful, but busy. Are you a Lumi man? I'm a Lumi man, that's for sure. I'm a Lumi man.
What that does. So I'm just going to set up a shot here. I'm just trying to get this to a place where I think the perspective is looking good. So say for instance, I like the way this is looking right now in terms of perspective, but I want the focus, instead of being in the center, to be off to the side a little. So if you move your camera like this, you can see the perspective is changing as I'm moving this. So if you don't want the perspective to change, that's where shift would come in handy. You can see.
Thank you for the lurk, Dolu. I appreciate you hanging out while you do work. Get that work done. Let's bring the camera a little closer, shall we? And I'm thinking, where are my guidelines? Oh, they're very thin, huh? Okay, so we can lock the camera to the viewport and then get this guy in the proper thirds. It is done, and I committed the blasphemy. Ray, what is this? What is this picture you have as your profile picture? It's a little spooky. Okay, well, thank you for posting the schmoobs as well as the ass. But I that is lead poisoning stairs Sephiroth. Okay. Ray, you're absolutely incredible. I love the commitment to the memes. Truly. No cap. Look at this man dance. Okay.
I can move this and none of the perspective is shifting. This is something I think works better for still shots. I don't usually use this while animating, but you can experiment.
I love the fact that you have a pirate hat today. Thank Megallion, who clicked on the random hat button. Right. Ah, the perspective is not changing, but we can shift the camera. Ooh. What's your favorite misheard lyric? Well, the first one that comes to mind is the classic "Excuse me while I kiss this guy" by Jimi Hendrix. Kiss this guy. This one.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
Wonderful animation. Wonderful animation. I also love the classic, the O Fortuna, Carmina Burana misheard lyrics. Carmina Burana misheard lyrics. This octopus, give him some boots. For some reason, Jesus of Neverland from Duality by Slipknot. Duality misheard lyrics. So hard. It's like it's supposed to be Jesus it never ends, but Jesus of Neverland. Oh, I see. I see. I had to remember what song you were talking about. Wasn't Duality in one of the Guitar Heroes? Oh no, it was in Rock Band 4. Interesting. Unlocked for 15 seconds to say fucking epic follower goal. We're going big. A millionaire. Best misheard lyric I've ever heard was I like juice from Radiant Gaze by Meshuggah. Interesting. I don't know that. I'm not familiar with Meshuggah at all. So you could tell me anything and I believe it. Right now, I'm receptive.
With it. And you can also go up and down too if you want. So clipping can be easily explained by setting your focal length pretty small and trying to zoom in close to another object. So to zoom in, I'm just going to hit G and then Z twice to move along the local Z axis.
Oh, I see. Look at that. We set the focal length to 3 millimeters and we get this baller perspective. We just go like wow. Okay, so the camera might be too close to him. Let's just grab that and move it backwards a little. Why are you like this? Give me my camera. Give me my camera. Thank you. Why do I feel like I need to make these? Oh, Shift Tab turns on this thing. Oh,
like that. And you can see when I zoom in, if I get too close, things start to get cut off. And that's because of this clipping distance right here. So you can just make this clip start a smaller number. And basically this is saying anything closer than this distance, just get rid of it, basically. So if I set this to something else like 0.05, you can see now it's not getting cut off. And you can see what's happening if you just move that slowly. And this also works for the clipping end right here. If you make this smaller, you can see it starts getting rid of background objects at a certain point, like that.
oh.
So next we'll talk about making a pivot point. So
All right, let's play with this a little bit. This is the point of this stream, is to play. All right. Set my focal length quite small. Zoom in. So this is what happens when the clipping starts to happen. We don't like that. I mean, it's a cool effect, but we don't really want it. Oh. Interesting. So hovering over a value and hitting backspace resets it to...
when I first started Blender, basically what I was trying to do was make characters and then make a camera that revolves around it or orbits around it, kind of like a turntable. And that's pretty hard to just move your camera around like this and have it always be focused on your character and have it actually be like a circular path. So the easiest way I found out to do this, and just a nice way to control your camera in general, is with a pivot point. So usually what I do is add in an empty with Shift A, and it can be any of these things, but I like to use a plain axis like that.
All right, let's get off of camera mode. Zoom in on our guy. Let's add in a empty. A plain axis, and let's just move that onto his head.
Yes. And then I'm just going to reset the location of our camera right here with Alt-G. And I'm just going to pull it back a little so it's pointing directly at our empty right here. Then you just want to select your camera, Shift select your empty right here, and Control P to parent, like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. All right. So let's select the camera. Camera is selected. Alt-G. Grab along the Y. Pull our camera back a bit. Then, not you. Not you. Select the camera. Select the camera. Select the empty. And then hit P, Control P to parent.
So now you can see when you move the empty around, the camera is following, and you can also rotate it and it will just pivot around that empty.
Oh. Okay. So let's select the empty. Grab. Move up. That seems to work. We just have to update the camera shit. Back to, oh, wait, let's do the thing. Backspace. Perfect. Cool. So now we select the empty, rotate it. Look at that. The camera is all of a sudden doing the thing we want it to do.
So if I wanted to rotate around this lizard, I would basically just set this to where I want to revolve around. So I'll say just like around the head, something like that.
Right now I'm looking for some misheard lyric memes I made. Send it to the server. Yeah, absolutely. Fire away. Memes should be posted at all times.
And I can just rotate this on the Z-axis. And you can see it's revolving around in a circular path now, like that. One cool thing about using a pivot point like this is if you scale the empty up and down, it basically just makes the camera zoom in and out, which makes it a little easier to control while you're actually looking through your camera.
Okay, so that's sick. And as you might imagine, let's delete this. As you might imagine, because this is his thing, he already has this. So let's Alt G the camera. Pull it back a little bit. Select the pivot. And then parent object. Okay, cool. Camera pivot. As you can see, he already had this set up in his thing, which is perfect, beautiful. But now what we want to do is we want to make sure the camera is centered on the pivot. Actually, it's not centered on the pivot at all, because we did this in the wrong order. First do this. Looking good. Unlock the camera. And now rotate that camera pivot. That's so cool. Rotate that camera. Wild. Very good. All right. And then if we scale the pivot, it's like the camera zooms in and out. Yo, that's so cool. But if we select the camera again, we can change this to panoramic, orthographic, perspective. So cool. All right.
You can also use this for depth of field too. So if you select your camera and turn depth of field on right here, and I'll just make it something really shallow. I'll change the f-stop to like 0.5. You can set your focus object to that empty. So you can use this for zooming in and stuff, and you know that wherever the empty is going to be in focus.
Oh. So that's how depth of field works. All right. Set it to the camera pivot. F-stop something like 0.1.
Through your camera. You can also use this for depth of field too. So if you select your camera and turn depth of field on right here, and I'll just make it something really shallow. I'll change the f-stop to like 0.5. You can set your focus object to that empty. So you can use this for zooming in and stuff, and you know that wherever the
Neat. I don't know if that's exactly what we need for this project.
empty is going to be in focus. And so that's an easier way to control depth of field too. So next we'll talk about tracking objects, which is basically just a constraint that you can add to your camera. So to do this, you don't need to have a pivot point, but it will also work if you do have one. So having a pivot point doesn't really matter too much for this. Basically what you want to do is just select your camera and go over here to object constraint properties like that. And the ones that I'm looking for are under this tracking section right here. So the one that I like to use is called damped track, but you could also use locked track or track 2, and they all do very similar things. So I'm just going to choose damped track. So I'm looking through my camera now, and I'm just going to select this car. And you can see it's kind of broken now. Basically what I need to do is just set this to -Z right here, and it should work fine. If it doesn't,
We are looking for which bone? That would be his left finger 1. There we go. Holy shit, look at that. -Z, huh?
you just want to experiment seeing which one actually follows it. So now when we're looking through, you can see that it's pointing at our car, and when I press play, you can see when it animates, it will continue to follow it like that. So now our camera is just always going to be pointing at this car, and if we want it to not be pointing at the car, we can basically just turn the influence off, and it'll just go back to where it was looking before, like that. So this is really useful for moving cameras and moving objects. So if I move my camera,
He's dancing. Look at his look at how cool this camera looks. Damn. One what happens if we adjust this while the constraint is on? Scale. Very cool. I feel like this is a good way to get some secondary camera motion. Like, we can do the thing, but it's always almost like slightly following the thing. Wild. And the constraint is on the camera. Oh, the constraint has its own thing. Oh, dang. But like if we set the influence pretty low, it gives that feeling of like I'm watching this guy, right? And my eyes are following his movement, but I'm not necessarily. It's like a little hand cam style.
You can watch up here to see what the camera is seeing. When I move my camera, you can see it's going to continue looking at the car like that. You can see I have a few other cars that I set up to animate. So I'm just going to select the camera and change the target to one of these other cars. So I'll set it to this one right here. And when we look through, you can see that it's just going to follow the car like that. If you want to switch your focus from one object to another, you can use a few different constraints at the same time. So I'll just add a second constraint in and make sure that the track axis is the same for both of those. And I'm just going to select this other car right here. And basically what you need to know about this is that the one on the bottom is going to override all of the other ones. So if I turn the influence down all the way, now it's using this one and it's going to be focusing on this car right here. So this makes a little more sense when it's in motion. If I want the focus to switch from this object to the other, I can just turn the influence down like that. And now it's switched. And you can animate these too. So if you don't want your camera to rotate to look at an object, but instead just like follow it, copying the location, instead of using a tracking constraint, I would use the copy location constraint. You can use this directly on your camera right here, but I usually like to use it with a pivot point. So you can select your pivot point and choose the copy location constraint, and then just...
All right, let's turn this influence all the way down. Select the pivot point. No, not copy rotation. Copy location.
Select your target. So I'll select this white car right here. So you can see that it's not rotating at all to follow it. It's just copying the location. And if you try to move it around, it won't really work unless you click this offset button. And now you can see it's offset, but it's still copying it. And if you want it to be exactly where it is, you can just Alt-G to reset the location. And, you know, if you want this to be offset a little for a different composition, that's an easy way to set this up, but still.
So what we did here is we just took the pivot point and we copied the location of one of the fingers. And we can set the, maybe we can set the, interesting. Very shaky cam.
Have it follow. So this will always be on the side of the screen if you do it like this. You could also parent your pivot point directly to your object, and I usually do without inverse, so it snaps directly to it. But you can see when we do this, it's going to rotate with it also. This is a cool effect, but you know, you might not really want this. There's also a child of constraint, which basically does the same thing, except it lets you change the influence, so you can turn it on or off like that. So next I'll explain auto keying. And for this, I'm just going to delete our pivot point right here, just because I think it's going to be a little easier. So to use auto keying, you want to make sure that you have your timeline open right here. And there's this option right here. It looks like a little record button, and that's called auto keying. And if you set that and hit play and move one of your objects around with G, you can see that it starts inserting keyframes down at the bottom every time you move it. And even when it's stopped and you move it, it'll set a keyframe right there too. So it's basically just recording your actions without you having to manually insert keyframes. And there's also this other option. If you hit 0 to look through your camera and then hit shift and back tick, you can look through your camera and move around kind of like a first person game like this. You can see down at the very bottom,
Okay. He's doing so much. Let's cool. Okay. So much going on. You know what? Let's vertical split like here and make this the outliner. All right, outliner is now over here. All right. So essentially now we can start using the timeline, and the timeline is showing us the movement. And we've got these constraints on here onto the camera and the pivot point. But posted my shit post, and later I'm just going to draw some art. It's going to be my digital art month. Hell yeah. I actually love the month as a structure to build my personal projects around. It feels like a year is too long. And a week is too short for some of the projects that I'm doing. Like, I could grind on something for just a week, pure focus grinding on something for a week, but I feel like a lot of the things that I would have to do, like work and streaming video games and all that sort of stuff, would fall to the wayside if I focused a week like that, right? So I like the month. I like 3 months as well. 3 months is also a good amount of time for me, because it feels like it's enough time to really explore something and kind of learn a process, even if I'm only spending like 5 minutes a day on that process. 3 months feels like a good amount of time for that. I don't know. It's probably different for other people, but I love the month as a unit of personal growth. Digital art month. Let's go. What program are you using? I've been learning GIMP. Just a little bit a day. A little bit of GIMP a day keeps the Adobe vultures away. But I know there's a lot of good programs out there. And you have shown me some very cool programs that I wasn't aware of previously, so I'm curious. All right. Now we have to actually think about like stuff.
your actions without you having to manually insert keyframes.
Excuse
And
you.
there's also this other option. If you hit 0 to look through your camera and then hit shift and back tick, you can look through your camera and move around kind of like a first-person game like this. You can see down at the very bottom, it tells you all of the other shortcuts you need. So,
all right. I look through the camera. Shift backtick. Cannot navigate an object with constraints. Ah, okay. Let's delete the constraint. Okay, so now we're looking through it using the mouse. Oh, and yeah, it gives you WASD controls as well. Down and up. So this would be good for setting particular views. I see. And then we click to confirm. That's cool.
WAS and D is to move around like that. Q and E is to move up and down, and you can toggle gravity by hitting tab like that, and that makes it so you won't go through the floor if there is an object right there. Oh yeah, and also if you hit right click at any point, it'll just reset the camera. So I'm gonna go back to frame 1 right here and hit spacebar, and then immediately go into that first person mode and then start moving around. And you can see it's logging all of the keyframes right there and basically just recording. And when I've gotten what I wanted to get, you can just left click and you can see when it plays back again, it's just doing the same motion that we were just doing. So when you got everything you want to get, you can just turn off auto keying so you don't accidentally insert more keyframes. And you can see it's kind of rough, it's kind of shaky. If you want it to be a little smoother, what you can do is open up the graph editor. You can do that over here, or you can just hover on your timeline and hit Control Tab, and that'll open up the graph editor. So you can see that these are all the keyframes that were made. What you want to do to smooth them out is just hit A to select everything, and you can go to Key right here. And we have this Smooth Keys option at the top, and you can see that the shortcut for that is Alt-O. So over here, I'm just going to select everything and hit Alt-O, and you can see that it's going to start smoothing things out like that. And if we play it back, it'll be a little smoother now. So if you're used to playing first-person video games, this is going to be an easy way for you to record camera movement and get kind of like a handheld look.
Cool. There are several minutes left on this video, but I think we are at a point where we can kind of like make a thing. Let's make a thing. So let's start. Got it. Let's start by picking our initial view, which I kind of like this as the initial view. So let's say or can we set an eye over here? Oh, we can. Ooh, focal length. Okay. So how long should it take to zoom in? Let's go to 60 frames and use that to zoom in that far. Hit I. Playback. I love it. So let's just watch this from the outside. Cool. Because we have our camera view up here, right? So then let's say at 60 frames, we want to keyframe the location of the camera. And then at 61 frames, which should be an instant switch because there's no frames in between, we want to change the camera. Board meeting over. Next step, accounting. That's the good stuff, man. It's the good stuff. Oh, no. Let's undo. Yeah, we don't need to change that because we have the camera pivot, right? What we need to do is we need to set a rotation keyframe on the camera pivot at 60, and then at 61, let's change the rotation. So let's rotate here and on the local X. Yes, good. And then set that rotation keyframe. So let's try this. 60 frames, and then it changes. But now, the next 60 frames, we're just putting 60 frames because why not? We have 240 frames. We can do 4 moves. All right. Rotate on the Z around here, and then rotate on the local X down here. Set that rotation keyframe, please. Let's try this. Okay, kind of sick. All right. What should we do next? We should do, let's do a move, and we're going to use the pivot point again. The constraint is still affecting it slightly, right? Because our constraint is only influencing it so much. If we turn the constraint all the way up, then what happens? Yeah, no good. So can we put the constraint back onto here? Damped track, target, test character, the finger 1, 3, negative Z. Influence very small. Okay, I like it. Can this be set? It can. Okay. You can pretty much set everything as a animation point. Oh my God. So cool. All right. We need to change the location at frame 121. So let's select the camera pivot, Alt R to undo the rotation, but then we do need to rotate along the X a little bit. So this is like this. An AI Isaac Coin NFT would destroy the fabric of reality. I was happy to use the Yippee Isaac you made as the little icon, since you are also a reality destroyer. At least that's the perspective that I get from you. Maybe someone will buy it. I don't think so. Probably not. Aw, thanks. I thought you might take that as a compliment. Okay, so at 121, we need to location and rotation. And then the next 60 seconds, do we do a scale? Let's do a scale. We'll scale to here. Oh, excuse me. This is not John Coltrane. Okay. I'm slowly also learning how VLC playlists work. I'm an interdimensional pirate clown. I make or break worlds. Makes sense to me. All right. So let's set this. No, okay, so we need to undo that scale. We need, yeah, location, rotation, and scale to be done here. If we want to do scale here, we have to start doing everything, right? But at 121, let's go to our damped track. Let's, at 120, let's set the influence at 0. Then at 121, let's bump that influence up to almost 100. And then at 181, set it back down to 0. That's 182. You fool. Okay. How's that look? Good. Oh, it's looking so good. We have one more camera move that we can do. Let's do it. So at 180, we have to set our camera pivot. Okay, we have that set. So 181, we need to go back to the camera pivot. Scale it back in. Let's do, wait. Rotate along. Okay, no, wait. Scale it back in. Confirm. Don't get ahead of yourself, Isaac. Let's do the top down rotate. Let's do the top down rotate. So this, now we need to the location, rotation, and scale. And then we have to pick our final thing, which this movement is going to be a rotation along the X. Let's do this. Like end with the blue. Blue. End with the blue. Maybe even more so. Rotation along the X. Just go deep dark blue here. Meow. And then set location rotation scale. Okay, it's a little too much, isn't it? So let's rotate this. Just there. Then reset it. No, the problem is it just doesn't feel very like clean. Pause. Go here. Rotate along the X. As low down as we can go. Set that location, rotation, and scale. You're 600 points away from instant karaoke. Oh my. That's so they said on Twitch, they said that the average viewer, you should expect them to get, I think it was like 200 points an hour, something like that. So you're 3 hours away from instant karaoke. I don't know if it'll happen tonight. But we can kick off next time with instant karaoke. That'll be fun. Instant karaoke with Steve Aoki. I wonder if he like. I love the camera pivot. Let's add another element to this. Because what happens if I rotate the camera on the local y-axis? Nope. On the local z-axis? Okay, that's kind of sick. So for this, what we want to do is we want to take the Z rotation. Oh wait, this is the 3D cursor. Back to 0 you go. We want the camera's Z rotation. Is that right? What rotation am I looking at here? Okay. Anyway, we start at 181. we have the location, rotation, position. The camera needs a rotation thing here. And then when we get to here, we need to have rotated on the local Z, like almost all the way around. And then set another rotation thing. Okay. Let's go to the graph editor. Object transformation. Let's not normalize these. So let's, what we need to do.
I'm actually feeling better, but my voice is pretty gone.
No, wrong button. Wrong button.
Thank you. Hopefully, see you soon. Bye.
Cool. Now let's watch it. No, that's not right. Done with today's work. Where's my cab sav? Cab sav. Cab sav. Oh, Cabernet Sauvignon. Got it. Fancy. Maybe. Can I just loop a section here? Start at 180. Okay, and it keeps the rest of them. Okay. Mrs. Anzu not well? That's true. She is not well. She is, well, she's recovering. She's feeling better. But yeah, not feeling the best at the moment. No, none of this is gonna work how I want it to. Let's delete these channels. Yeah. She is currently feeling the illness. So for the camera, we need to reset the rotation, right? And then rotate around on the X until we're back where we need to be. Did you know her cough sounds as musical as her singing? I mean, of course you know, silly me. Okay, camera's back where it needs to be. I don't know if she would agree with you. I don't know if I would agree with you. Is it the pivot point that we need to rotate? I think it is. This pivot point rotation needs to be bonkers. Okay. Let's start at 180. 1. Yeah, she's sick. Unfortunately, that's part of living in a place that is not familiar to us as much, right? We have trouble with the season changes because all the bugs and viruses are different and pollens are different than what we're used to, what we grew up with. So yeah, we always go through a tough time in the spring. Every year so far anyway. Yeah, this is the thing that I wanted to do. So what I just need to do here then is just set this rotation to 360 and then replace that keyframe. But maybe not quite. Let's try negative 360. Aye. Question time. How do you decide a theme for something like a Twitch channel? Ooh. Okay, we need a little zoom in at the back half there. Like here. How do I decide a theme for things? So I like to do kind of. Oh, Ray, by the way, feel free to draw Skibbity Isaac anytime you want. Sorry, didn't get to that message. I like to do kind of generative sort of things. Now, maybe this is just my chimera nature speaking for me, but to me, if you have thing A that you already know and thing B that you already know, when you squish them together, you don't just get A plus B. You also get A times B and A divided by B and A minus B and A to the power of B and all the math terms. The point that I'm making here is that I like to pick more than one thing and then try to find the intersection of those things. And normally at that intersection, I start to find all sorts of stuff. Like, yes, my current theme is business Isaac, but there's a second secret theme that you may not know about because it's secret. We have location, rotation, and scale here, right? We do, because you can see. What we need to do is we need to scale this section down and then set the scale. Let's try that. Hell fucking yeah. Look at that shit. Ooh. Around the back. Oh my God, that looks good. But when I intersect those themes, the ideas start to flow. Usually I start with a word, then use whatever's related to the word to try to capture the vibe. I do that too, but I find that it works even better when I take the vibe of one word, right? And then instead of just relating to the things around that word, I introduce another word, I introduce another concept, and then try to capture the intersection of those concepts, right? So And I mean, you can think about this like, here's a business example. Amazon. Amazon started out as an online bookseller, and that is like books and the internet. Two things that people were like, these things are not connected. If you're on the computer, you're not reading books. And if you're reading a book, you're not on the computer. There's no overlap. And then they're like, but what if we sold books online? What if you could what if you could browse books and buy them online? And that led to the biggest online marketplace, right? That definitely makes things interesting. I think so. I think, my God, I love this camera angle so much. Okay, I think we have a cool set of camera angles here now. Doom, doom, doom. We hear all the time about things being favorites. How does one develop a favorite? Say, for example, favorite color. Ooh, okay. So this is another good question because it's something that I have struggled with for a long time. And that is to say that I intellectualize my preferences. I don't think of things in terms of, do I like them? I think of things in terms of, do they have that sort of like value, right? I need to adjust the camera angle at frame 180. There we go, to influence 0. And then we need to frame that. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. I need to be on the damped track. The damped track. The damped track needs to be 0. Needs to be 0 at 180. Let's set that. And then the copy location. Oh, I see. Okay, because the finger is down there at 180, our pivot needs to be rotated slightly up. And then let's just set that. Boom. Perfect. So for me, liking something was not about how much I liked it. It was what was the thing with the most benefits to me, right? And I didn't have any favorites because benefits can change over time, and some things have more benefits than others, and some things are like they have benefits and detriments, and you have to weigh the pros and cons, right? Very intellectual. Well, eventually I noticed that even though I could weigh the benefits of some things versus other things, right? No matter how beneficial something was, certain things gave me more energy than other things. A pragmatic approach, I see. Well, here's what I'm getting at. The pragmatic approach isn't always the best. So let's talk about exercising, right? For me, I decided that I needed to spend more calories. And so I'm like, I'm going to run. I'm going to learn how to run, and I'm going to start running. Well, I did pretty good. However, eventually I stopped because running became this huge energy drain. It wasn't something that I was looking forward to. It was something that I had to do. It was something that I was like pushing myself to do. Right. And that can work for a little while, but eventually you run out of willpower. The thing that I realized was that even though there are benefits to certain things and not to other things, you also have to pay attention to how much energy something gives you. Other ways to look at that: how much excitement does something give you? How much anticipation or looking forward to something does it give you? Alternatively, how much energy does it take? How drained do you feel after? How not looking forward to it are you, right? And even though pragmatically running was the best option available to me, I wasn't looking forward to it, and it was draining my energy. And I realized that I didn't like it. I don't like running. I know I have my very first videos on YouTube are running videos, but I just don't like it. It's kind of boring. And also, you know, it's a big energy commitment for me. It doesn't work the way I want it to. So I had to experiment with other things, and slowly I found that there were things that I did look forward to that weren't an energy drain, but rather doing these workouts gave me energy, which was a wild concept to me, right? Like, I was tired by the end of it physically, but emotionally, I was pumped up. I was ready to do stuff. I was ready to go. And I realized, this is the emotional aspect. This is the way that you decide what your favorite things are, not by what would benefit me the most, but rather what is the most exciting to me, what gives me the most energy. Emotionally, what do I like the most? Forgive me for being kinky, but how fascinating is it as a total opposite for sex being someone's favorite? Hey, listen. I think that the other lesson that I had to learn here is that I don't really get to decide what gives me energy, what I end up liking. Like, you can end up liking something for stupid reasons. You can end up feeling like something is extremely important to you because it is, right? Like, that's the thing. Who knows, right? And hey, listen, I'm not the particular kind of person where like sex is so exciting to me that I'm going out of my way to do it all the time. But if that's something that excites you and it's something that, you know, burns calories, why the hell not? Right? The thing that you want to do is, just like any exercise plan, the best exercise is the one that you'll do. So you want to think about, like, what's the actual exercise that I want to do? And maybe that's you know, sex, but maybe But if it is sex, you know what that means, right? You need a consistent schedule. That's why I always very hard to quote what's my favorite, but your analysis fits the most things. Well, and I think the thing is, if you've done the analysis and you know what's the most beneficial, you should try it. But if it becomes a chore, you should try something else, even if it's not the most beneficial. And only by trying all these things can you actually start to figure out what your favorite thing is. All right. I'm getting tired of these walls. I'm getting tired of these walls being all over the place. So let's see if we can remember how to do this. Shift duplicate along the Y axis. And then let's rotate it 90 degrees on the Z. Well, that's a funny look. No, we're putting this boy in a room. I guess we need a ceiling too, don't we? Let's duplicate this on the Z axis and move it up. Does this need to be even bigger? So let's pause the timeline. Let's go to frame 0. Yeah, see the problem is no matter how big we make this, the way that the camera is set up, it's just not going to matter. What we need to do is we need to go to the camera, which has the focal length. So focal length is here. And we just need to start at 2. So let's try that. Wait, is that not what we did? Okay. All right. Ray says, I have a meme for segs. Segs. This is looking pretty spicy.
So next I'll show you how to make a dolly zoom effect. Some people call it the Hitchcock zoom also. For this, it's a lot easier if you do have a pivot point set up, so make sure you have a pivot point if you're trying to do this. Basically, what we're going to do is change the focal length of our camera while we zoom in or out. So I'm just going to turn our focal length down pretty low to like 10, like that, and just look through your camera and select your pivot point. And
all right, so I'm going to power nap for 15 minutes and head to my stream. Pleasure being here. Kindly forgive me my idiotic chat. No, thank you for Thank you for stopping in, chatting. No idiotic ideas whatsoever. I love talking philosophy and stuff like that, especially when it comes to the self. Feel free to drop by anytime, and good luck with your stream.
Zoom in until you get to a point that you think is good. And once you get here, you just want to insert some keyframes. So go to your timeline or dope sheet and go to the first frame. And I'm just going to insert a keyframe for the scale right here. And then you want to select your camera right here and also insert a keyframe for the focal length. Then you can move to a later frame. So I'll go to like frame 100 and I'm just going to change the focal length from 10 to 50. So this is multiplying by 5, remember that. And then insert a keyframe there. And then back on your pivot point, you can basically just hit S to scale and 5. So this is multiplying the scale by 5 now also. And then you can insert another keyframe there. And that...
Cheers, have a good one. Get well soon. Wishes for Mrs. Anzu. Get well soon. She says thank you. She says thank you.
Is it. We have our dolly zoom effect like that. And you can see that the focal point is basically staying the same. So I recommend using a pivot point for this because you can pretty much just scale the focal length and the pivot point up by the same amount, and it seems to work out every time for me. If you're not using a pivot point, you're going to have to figure out how far away to move your camera to keep the same visual distance. And I find it's just a lot easier to use a pivot point. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to show you how to add some camera shake. So you can add camera shake to your empty, but I usually like to add it to my camera directly instead. So select your camera. You can do that over here in the outliner and then hit N on your viewport and it'll open up the side panel right here. And you just want to figure out which axis you want to move your camera on. So usually what I do is add it to the X rotation or the Z location like that. You just want to insert a single keyframe on whatever axis. And you can see down here in my dope sheet, we just have one keyframe now. And you want to switch over to the graph editor. So in the graph editor, just select that keyframe that you just made. And you want to open up the side panel over here. So you can either just drag it open like that, or you can hit N by hovering over right here, and it'll just open up. Then on the edge, you can see we have a modifiers option. Just make sure you click that. And the one that you're going to add is called noise. So you can see now when we play it, it's shaking all over the place and it's a little too much. So you can change the strength. You can just turn that down.
That's cool. Doesn't quite fit this overall thing here. So if we go to camera, go to 0, insert single keyframe. Object transformation. Oh, right. We need to be on the timeline, of course. Modifiers. Add the noise modifier.
I usually set it to something a little.
Yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Scale down. Point 0.001. Too little. I see. Wild. All right, let's just get rid of that. Cool though.
A little lower. You want to keep it subtle. So maybe like 0.1, something like that. But it's jittering really fast too. So you can change the scale of it. And you can see in the graph editor, as you change your scale up, what's happening. It's just basically stretching it apart and making each movement a little smoother and more subtle, just a little slower. And so this is a quick way to add some camera shake. And you can also change the influence if you want it to come in and go away. So next I'll show you how to switch cameras. So obviously for this you're going to need more than one camera. I'm just going to Shift A and add in a second one. And you can just drag this wherever you want. And if you want to just look through your camera and you don't want it to switch back and forth, but you just want to change which camera you're using, so you can just find it over here in the outliner. I just clicked on it so you can see that's the one we want to switch to. And just hit this drop down arrow. And right here, you can just click that one and you can see now that it's looking through that one. So this is a quick way to just switch which camera you're using. This isn't animating which camera is using, it's just changing like which one is actually being used. So I'm just going to set this one up now and add another empty for a pivot point, stuff like that. So I have my camera motion set up for both of my cameras, and I'm just going to switch back to my first camera right here. So now I'm going to set up animating the camera switching. So basically what you want to do over in your timeline is insert some markers where you want the cameras to change. So to do that, you can either go to marker right here and add marker, or you can just hit M. So I'm going to hit M just on the first frame right here. And that's going to be where our first camera is. That's where it starts. And where we want it to switch. So I'm just going to look through my camera and figure out where I want it to switch. So maybe around frame 100, we can add another marker right here. And basically you just want to go over the marker now, make sure your camera is selected, and while hovering over your marker you can hit Control B, and that's going to make the camera switch at that point. So then we go to this next marker, which is frame 100, select your camera, hover over your marker and hit Control B. So now you can see once it gets to frame 100, it'll switch like that. It's also worth noting that your cameras can have different settings. So you can see the passepartout 2 is different here than on our first one. So if you wanted them to be the same, you can just select your two cameras like that and hit Control L and link object data like that. And it'll copy all of the properties, I believe, over here. And that's how you can switch between two cameras. And you can basically just keep going back and forth, add however many cameras you want to. And if you don't want to remember the shortcuts for this, you can find all of these in the menu over here. So to add a marker, there's the option right here, and you can see up here we have our bind camera to markers option also. So if you ever forget, you can just find them right in this menu right here. All right, that's it for this one.
Add
if there are
marker,
other camera tips you think
bind
people should
camera to
know about, leave a
markers.
comment below. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
That's crazy. There's so much. This beginner friendly Blender vids is so good. Heart dang. Okay. Well, thank you, Joey. As always, you're wonderful. Let's look at this. Yeah, so the lighting is not great currently. Where's my light? Oh, it's outside the room. Well, that's a problem. Let's grab this on everything but the Z-axis and move it in to the room. Oh, it's really nice having the lighting thing here. Okay. So I believe that the way that we want to do this is with area lights, right? And then you can scale up and like rotate the area light. And we can make this like a warm color. And then like duplicate it. Rotate that. Now, what's the diffuse thing? Make the shadow less harsh. No. I guess we do want the shadows there, don't we? Maybe it's the old three light trick. Hmm. It's a little too bright, isn't it? Hey, hello, Princess Tofu. Welcome, welcome. We are trying to make this. We're trying to make this thing right here look good through the power of light. What about spotlights? I mean, that's actually I like that a lot. Let's see. Scaling doesn't do a whole lot. Rotating, on the other hand, does. How are you, Princess Tofu? Wait a minute. I've selected too many things. It was lovely hanging out in the Marbles stream yesterday. I don't really know much about that game, but it seems like a lot of fun. Doesn't it? It seems like a great game for like community stuff, right? It's fun. It is. He is dancing. Spot shape. I guess let's look at it this way. Ooh, okay, this is what I want. And now does rotation do something? It does. Rotate me on the Z. Let's get these spotlights right on this boy. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Spotlight. Action. Have you ever messed around in Blender before? The more I do it, the more I realize that Blender is just going to be the thing. It's going to be the ultimate thing. All right, let's put that spotlight directly on him. And then let's rotate this spotlight a little further this way. And then this spotlight. Bring it down. Wait a minute. That's the second time the pirate hat has come up today. What are you saying? That I pirated this software? Pirate hat. Well, wait. Can you even pirate free software? I don't think so. Let's rotate along Z. I mean, it's looking kind of good, isn't it? Dancing his little heart out. Right now, Blender does so much stuff. Wouldn't be surprised if they were like, next up, OBS, and the Blender can now stream like OBS. Blender can now do your taxes. Blender can now be your operating system. The Blender operating system. You can really pirate free software. You can't really pirate free software unless you're selling it. Yeah, redistribution. That would be... I think that would be frowned upon. Just a little bit. Let me open it up. You hope Lumi loves the gift. It's a yippee of you. That's cute. Thank you, Ray. She laughed. She laughed very silently because she's trying her best not to talk while she's sick. All right. Let's zoom in. So look at the shadows behind here. They're a little bit funky. What happens if I... What happens if I change the diffusion on these lights? The shadows are still funky. The lights are just dimmer. What do I need to do to change the shadows? We want the lights to be bright. Yippee! Yes, you definitely cheered her up. Imagine selling a zip folder of GIMP for $20. Yeah, I don't think that they would like that. All right. Radius seems to do nothing. What does volume do? Nothing. Specular. Nothing. All right. Doesn't look like anything I'm doing is affecting the shadow. Except maybe turning it off. Yeah, we can turn off the one. We can turn off one of the shadows and it looks a little better. Um, hmm. See, this is where I wanted to do more lighting tutorials, right? Because lighting tutorials. Where's my... This is the object data properties, right? Custom props. Give me a new property. Nope. Brush. So what this might be now might be time to render. Let's pause. I love this opening image though. Really cool. Render animation. That might take a while. Time remaining. About 5 minutes. I guess in the meantime, let's just save. Let's just save. I want to put my tender hard in a blender. I guess you can sit here and watch this render with me. Maybe you know what we should do? While this renders, let's go to the water cooler. So let's have a break. Let's take a break. Let's get a drink. Water cooler. And while we're here, we can read about our good friend, the Electromagnetic Spectrum, and the sponsor of today's video. Oh yeah. Ugh. The electromagnetic spectrum is the full range of electromagnetic radiation organized by frequency or wavelength. Whoa. Did you know that visual waves and radio waves are the same thing? Just different sizes. Except sound waves are a totally different thing. Sound waves are not radio waves. Penetrates Earth's atmosphere? Microwaves do not. Radio waves do. Ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays do not. That's good, because rays of that size can mess with your DNA, give you cancer. A microwave is about the size of a butterfly. Wild. Radio waves are approximately the size of buildings. That's kind of insane. These electronic waves zipping through the air, which we have no concept of, no conception of whatsoever. Let's read about the different types. Radio waves. Ray will fuck you up. That's right. Radio waves at the low frequency end of the spectrum have the lowest photon energy and the longest wavelengths, thousands of kilometers or more. They can be emitted and received by antennas and pass through the atmospheric foliage and most building materials. Wow. They're just zaps of electricity going at it all around us, and we have no idea. Gamma rays at the high frequency end of the spectrum have the highest photon energies in the shortest wavelengths, much smaller than an atomic nucleus. Gamma rays, X-rays, and extreme ultraviolet rays are called ionizing radiation because their high photon energy is able to ionize atoms, causing chemical reactions. Aha. Longer wavelength radiation, such as visible light, is non-ionizing. The photons do not have sufficient energy to ionize atoms. Throughout most of the electromagnetic spectrum, spectroscopy can be used to separate waves of different frequencies so that the intensity of the radiation can be measured as a function of frequency or wavelength. Spectroscopy is used to study the interactions of electromagnetic waves with matter. So I want to clarify something crazy for you. So you know that the visual FPS of your brain is limited, right? Like once you hit about 60 frames per second, there's not a whole lot more that your brain can comprehend. Yeah, you can push your computer to do higher frames per second, right? But your brain can't really comprehend that many frames per second. Your ears, however, if we're talking about high quality frames per second for audio, CD quality audio is 44.1 thousand frames per second. So your ears are a lot more sensitive to fast changes in audio than your eyes. And let me look this up, like radio kilohertz per second. Radio hertz. Radio frequency. What is the hertz of a radio? Maybe what I'm looking for is radio quality audio. So wow. Wild. So essentially, from what I understand, you can't even compare radio because FM radio is analog, right? That is wild. Anyway, think about these radio waves, the size of buildings. And in order to get sound quality, let's say, so lower quality sound is about 16,000 frames per second, right? In order to get that quality, you need a bit of data 16,000 times a second, right? And for audio, whether it's FM or AM, you need the wavelength of one wave in order to calculate that bit, right? You say for frequency, for FM radio, frequency radio, the length of the wave determines what number the bit is, right? Is it somewhere? It's usually somewhere between 0 and 1, right? But if you combine all of those fractional numbers, you get the audio wave that plays on your radio. So these radio waves, which are the size of buildings, are hitting your radio at least 16,000 times a second. Electricity is fast, man. It's fast as heck. So there you go. The radio waves, oh, they're crazy. With them radio waves. Frequency. Electromagnetic waves are typically described by any of the following three physical properties: frequency, wavelength, or photon energy, which I believe would be amplitude in radio terms, at least. What's a femtoelectron volt? A femto is So radio, it's definitely super fast. I don't mess with lightning. Ray is basically an electric user, so he gets funky with the zippy zaps. So radio waves have very low energy, which if you took a volt of energy, 1 volt, and your computer runs on 220 of those or something like that. 1 volt, we take a millivolt, and then we take a millivolt of a millivolt, which is a picovolt, and then a millivolt of a millivolt is a microvolt. Do that again, nano, pico, femto, femtovolt, 1 femtovolt. That's how much energy a radio wave has. And yet, they fly through the air and they stay through the air because they're so very long. That's wild. Whenever electromagnetic waves travel in a medium with matter, their wavelength is decreased. Right, because light can't pass through certain amounts of matter. Like the more matter that it passes through, the worse it becomes. All right. So when I said that this render would take 5 minutes, I might have been very wrong. I'm gonna look at Waves of electromagnetic radiation, whatever medium they are traveling through, usually quoted in terms of the vacuum wavelength, although this is not explicitly stated. Right. Oh, isn't there the videos of those people taking color strips deep underwater, and the more water that the light has to pass through, the more the colors change? That makes sense. So these wavelengths are the vacuum wavelengths of the spectrum. and visible light only covers 300 nanometer difference. Imagine if you could see radio waves. The world would just be like loaded up with this like haze of gray. Maybe that's what's really happening. Oh, the radio waves. They're dulling the colors. Don't think so. But yeah, the human eye can see a very, very small spectrum of the actual electromagnetic spectrum. That's why their catchphrase, their slogan is "See all that you can see," because that's all that you can see. There's so much more that you couldn't see if only you would embrace the entire electromagnetic spectrum. This animation is not even halfway done, by the way. 5 minutes? Yeah, right. There are no precisely defined boundaries between the bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. Rather, they fade into each other like the bands in a rainbow, which is the subspectrum of visible light. Radiation of each frequency and wavelength has a mix of properties in the two regions in the spectrum that bound it. For example, red light resembles infrared radiation in that it can excite and add energy to some chemical bonds, and indeed must do so to power the chemical mechanisms responsible for photosynthesis and the working of the visual system. That's rendering for you. I hear you. Rendering so complex. I wonder if it would have been better. Oh, yeah. See, this is the problem with rendering. It's showing me every single frame very slowly. And now I can see, there was some clipping on the dance that I made. The model did clip a little bit, didn't it? Shoot. Oh, well, time to render it again. No, we're not doing that. But yeah, I wonder if setting it out as a series of images and then putting it into the video timeline might have been a faster way to render it. He did talk about that in the video from last week. The visible spectrum. Oh, hey, Ray. Yes, Cyber Dragon Wolf. Welcome back, and Ray is here too. Chillin', chillin', chillin'. Let's see. Unlurk. Oh, I don't have an unlurk command. Maybe I should make one. Unlurk command? I don't know. Considering the time of night it is, most people lurk and then they lurk for the rest of the stream because they fall asleep. Seeing a mistake as it renders makes me scream on the inside. Yeah, but you didn't notice it, right? While you were working on it. Is anybody going to notice it when they watch it? I don't think so. Let's read about microwaves. Not that kind of microwave. Microwaves are radio waves of short wavelength, around 10 centimeters to 1 millimeter. Microwave energy is produced with klystron and magnetron tubes. let's see. Unlike higher frequency waves, which are absorbed mainly at surfaces, microwaves can penetrate into materials and deposit their energy below the surface. This effect is used to heat food in microwave ovens. Microwave ovens. Microwave is a kind of radiation, isn't it? It is. It is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. The nice thing, though, is that microwaves are, as you can see, they're closer to radio waves than the kind of radiation that actually ionizes your atoms. So, visible light, there's the colors of visible light. Did you know cyan is a color? What about orange? Why have I been to the orange page before? That is a great picture for the color orange, though. Violet is an amethyst. Blue is the planet Earth. Cyan is, that's a Van Gogh. No. What's his name? What's his name? Hey, what's his name?
Monet.
Monet. Monet is water lilies. Green is grass. Yellow is flowers. Orange is this beautiful picture of orange. Red is a strawberry. Yeah. Saying that a microwave will ionize your food and give it cancerous properties is saying that the visible light spectrum by which you see everything must also be ionizing radiation. Silly. But now we're on to the UV radiation. UV is the lowest energy range energetic enough to ionize atoms, separating electrons from them, thus causing chemical reactions. Exposure to them can cause damage to living tissue. If you look too much at purple, I'm afraid it's too late for you. If you look too much at the color purple, you're flirting with disaster. That's what's happening. Can we do like, let's just put a little display capture in the corner so you can all watch this with me. Watch the slow process of rendering as we talk. Can you see it change? It just changed. UV can also cause substances to glow with visible light. This is called fluorescence. It is used by forensics to detect evidence like blood and urine that is produced by a crime scene. I don't think blood and urine is produced by the crime scene. But Isaac, I'm covered in purple, and your wife is purple. No, you don't understand. We're in danger. Can I get a ping check? I'm just gonna do a message here. I ping. Okay, and we've got some delay. Not too bad though. Oh, did you see that was a big change? Frame 121. ping? What's your ping, Ray? How long did it take you to type ping and then for me to say the word ping? Ping. At the middle of UV rays cannot ionize but can break chemical bonds, making molecules unusually reactive. It's the main cause of skin cancer. UV rays in the middle range can irreparably damage the complex DNA molecules and make it a very potent mutagen. Due to skin cancer caused by UV, the sunscreen industry was invented to combat UV damage. Mid-UV wavelengths are called UVB, and UVB lights such as germicidal lamps are used to kill germs and also to sterilize water. Oh. I always wondered what kind of like UV lamps. So the mid-range of UV, couple of minutes, 5 maybe? No way. That's, well, we are on the other side of the world from each other. That's disheartening though. I don't think it's a problem that I can fix on my end. I think it is merely the reality we're living in. Look, if you look right now, you can see that finger is going into his head. The finger, I don't think we took into account the finger when we were checking for clipping. And thus the finger passes through his little face every once in a while. But fortunately, with frame 121 behind us, we are officially past the halfway point. I hope you're ready for some more reading about the electromagnetic spectrum. The sun emits UV radiation, including extremely short wavelength UV that could potentially destroy most life on land. However, most of the sun's damaging UV wavelengths are absorbed by the atmosphere before they reach the surface. The higher energy ranges are absorbed by nitrogen, and at longer wavelengths, simple diatomic oxygen. Most of the UV in the mid-range of energy is blocked by the ozone layer, which absorbs strongly in the important 200 to 315 nanometer range, the lowest energy part, which is too long for ordinary dihydrogen near to absorb. This leaves less than 3% of sunlight at the sea level in UV, all this remainder at lower energies. The very lowest energy range is not blocked well by the atmosphere, but does not cause sunburn and does less biological damage. However, it is not harmless and does create oxygen radicals, mutations, and skin damage. I've heard that. UVA is how you can get skin damage even when you are, even when it's cloudy, which is why the makeup and skincare people are like, the best thing you can do for your skin is never go outside. I don't think that that's a good long-term solution, but you know, maybe just wear clothing around your most sensitive parts. Sunglasses, maybe. Gotta look cool. X-rays. X-rays can interact with matter by means of the Compton effect, straight out of Compton. Compton scattering. Oh yeah, I send him Compton scattering. I send him scattering in Compton. No, not really. I wouldn't have the guts. Compton scattering, or the Compton effect, is the quantum theory of high-frequency photon scattering following an interaction with a charged particle, usually an electron. Wow. The effect was discovered by Arthur Holly Compton and earned him the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1927. Yeah. Bro. I'm out here trying to research the Compton effect, but I'm getting held back by the Compton effect. Hard X-rays have shorter wavelengths than soft X-rays. They can pass through many substances with little absorption. They can be used to see through objects with thicknesses less than the equivalent to a few meters of water. Ooh. So they use diagnostic X-rays in medicine. They're useful as probes in high energy physics. The accretion disks around neutron stars and black holes emit X-rays, enabling the studies of those phenomena. Are they going to have the black hole picture on the black hole article? Yeah, they are. So this is a radio image. Wild. It's crazy that this is like such a recent thing. Every black hole page is going to have this picture on it. Supermassive black holes. Oh, Quasar has like a drawing on it. Was the related see also binary black hole, black hole initiative, black hole starship, black holes in fiction. So many of these have no image. A planet? Sorry? A planet is a member of a hypothetical class of exoplanets that directly orbit black holes. There is a safe zone around a supermassive black hole that could harbor thousands of planets in orbit around it. All right. New favorite word, planet. Have you been to a planet? In the episodes The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit of the television series Doctor Who, the plot of the episode takes place on the titular Impossible Planet, a barren planet called Crop Tor, orbiting a black hole called K37 Gem 5. In Interstellar, 2 of the 3 terrestrial planets orbiting the supermassive black hole Gargantua are proper planets. The other one orbits a main sequence star called the Pantagruel. Wild. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, though. I'm so surprised. Oh, there we go. The black hole information paradox, aka the Susskind-Hawking battle. The Black Hole War. The war was purely a scientific one, and at a personal level, the participants remained friends. Wow. So some of this so the information paradox has received coverage in the popular media and has been described in popular science books. Some of this coverage resulted in a widely publicized bet made in 1997 between John Preskill and, on the one hand, with Hawking and Kip Thorne on the other, the information was not lost in black holes. Susskind writes that Hawking was eventually persuaded that black hole evaporation was unitary by the holographic principle, which was first proposed by T. Hooft, further developed by Susskind, and later given a precise string theory interpretation. In 2004, Hawking also conceded the 1997 bet, paying Preskill with a baseball encyclopedia from which information can be retrieved at will, Thorne refused to concede. Dang. Stephen Hawking is kind of a sassy motherfucker when you learn about his interpersonal stuff. What were we talking about? X-rays. X-rays are also emitted by stellar corona, and are strongly emitted by some types of nebulae. However, X-ray telescopes must be placed outside the Earth's atmosphere to see astronomical X-rays, since the great depth of the atmosphere of Earth is opaque to X-rays. Dang. Equivalent to 10 meters thickness of water. So the density of the atmosphere is equivalent to 10 meters of water. That's a kind of a brain-breaking fact, isn't it? It makes sense, but also, why should it make sense, right? This is an amount sufficient to block almost all astronomical X-rays and also all astronomical gamma rays. So we can see space and the sun because the visible light can easily penetrate the atmosphere. However, and I bet human eyes evolved to accommodate the levels of light that the sun emits. However, the atmosphere easily blocks X-rays, but that middle range, the ultraviolet range, some things are blocked and some things aren't. Gamma rays. After hard X-rays come gamma rays, which of course turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk. But before we get to gamma rays, I just want to take a moment and watch the render a little bit, because we're once again getting to the point where we're going to see a big change. We're on frame 178, and oh boy, frame 181 should be the frame where things like go wild, right? There's 180. Here we go. Last big change. Yeah. Good one. Okay. On to my favorite camera motion that we made today. Let's read about gamma rays. Gamma rays were discovered by Paul Ulrich Villard in 1900. These are the most energetic photons, having no defined lower limit to their wavelength. In astronomy, they are valuable for studying high-energy objects or regions. However, as with X-rays, they should only be done with telescopes outside the Earth's atmosphere. So, I wonder if a gamma ray was released on Earth, what's the range of it? How far could it go before it was stopped? They're used for the irradiation of foods and seeds for sterilization, and in medicine, they're occasionally used in radiation cancer therapy. You can use radiation to fight radiation? Radiation, using ionizing radiation to either kill or control the growth of malignant cells. Radiation therapy may be curative if a number of types of cancer, if they are localized to one area in a body and have not spread to other parts. Wild. So you're just, instead of causing the cells to mutate, you're just causing them to melt, right? Let's just melt them. Gamma rays are emitted during nuclear fission and nuclear explosions. A gamma ray, or gamma radiation, Natural sources of gamma rays originating on Earth are mostly a result of radioactive decay and secondary radiation from atmospheric interactions with cosmic ray particles. However, there are other rare natural sources, such as terrestrial gamma ray flashes, which produce gamma rays from electron action upon the nucleus. Wild. Dark lightning. Wait a minute. This is kind of sick, actually. Terrestrial gamma ray flash, also known as dark lightning, is a burst of gamma rays produced in Earth's atmosphere. Recorded to last 0.2 to 3.5 milliseconds and have energies up to 20 million electron volts. So all this fantasy stuff where it's like, I have lightning, but it's dark lightning, black lightning. They weren't joking, huh? Interesting. Gamma rays and X-rays are both electromagnetic radiation. Since they overlap in the electromagnetic spectrum, today's sponsor, the terminology varies between scientific disciplines. Okay. Gamma rays are ionizing radiation and are thus hazardous to life. Due to their high penetration power, they can easily damage bone marrow and internal organs. Unlike alpha and beta rays, they can easily pass through the body and thus pose a formidable radiation protection challenge, requiring shielding made from dense materials such as lead or concrete. On Earth, the magnetosphere protects life from most types of lethal cosmic radiation other than gamma rays. The magnetosphere, huh? A computer simulation of Earth's field in a period of normal polarity between reversals. Isn't there a time dependence, short-term variations, secular variation, magnetic field reversals? Occasionally, the north and south geomagnetic poles trade places. Reversals occur nearly randomly in time, with intervals between 0.1 million years to as much as 50 million years. What would you say 0.1 million years? It's 100,000 years. The most recent geomagnetic reversal occurred about 780,000 years ago. Okay, so we could be due for one, but it also could take another like 49 million years. Starting in the late 1800s and throughout the 1900s and later, the overall geomagnetic field has become weaker. Oh, dang. The Earth's magnetic pole is drifting from northern Canada towards Siberia with a presently accelerating rate. 10 kilometers per year at the beginning of the 1900s, up to 40 kilometers per year in 2003, and since then has only accelerated. It's a hell of a spot to end that paragraph. How does this affect my life? Probably not something you're going to find on Wikipedia, huh? I want to know what the Well, I guess in a vacuum, gamma ray is just gone forever, right? Penetration of matter. This is what I wanted to know. This section does not cite any sources. Mer. Alpha radiation is stopped by a sheet of paper. Beta radiation is stopped by aluminum plate. Gamma radiation requires shielding by dense material such as lead or concrete. Lead's major advantage is not in lower weight, but rather its compactness due to its higher density. Protective clothing, goggles, and respirators can protect from internal contact with or ingestion of alpha or beta emitting particles, but provide no protection from gamma radiation from external sources. Clarification needed. So it is possible for Bruce Banner to have been hit by gamma radiation, even if it was just in the in an atmosphere, right? Compton. But I don't think it'll turn you into the Hulk, right? In the US, gamma ray detectors are beginning to be used as part of the Container Security Initiative. This looks invasive. As terrorist organizations have increasingly turned to destroying economic infrastructure to make an impact on nations, the vulnerability of international shipping has come under scrutiny. Under the CSI program, the screening of containers that pose a risk for terrorism is accomplished by teams of CBP officials deployed to work in concert with their host nation counterparts. Yeah. All right, we're on frame 231. We're almost there. Shall we go back to the office? Watch this in real time? Let's do that. Oh, frame 233. Yeah, look, you can see that finger goes right into his head. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Let's just turn it off. And now it's out. 234. 235. I wonder if it'll give me the total amount of time it took. 236. His shoulders didn't turn out the best. He's a little bit of a wiggly guy, isn't he? I like his big eyebrows, though. Just massive eyebrows. Angry brows. Doodle-doo. And that's frame 240. Is it done? let's check the folder. All right, well, I don't see any things posted up in there. Let's go to scene. Where was this? Rendering an Eevee, you know, the Pokemon. Where's my C temp drive? Okay, it looks like it did put it in the temp drive, and it did do it as a series of images. So I guess that is how it does. Where's my video editing? Video editing. Add image sequence. Add image strip. Oh, it's playing backwards, isn't it? Can we reverse? Undo. Add image sequence. The name, do them in order of name, please. Oh, so it took about 45 minutes to render that. FPS is a little low currently because it's doing stuff. There we go. Much better. So I'm told that you can do I'm told that you can do some compositing in here. I guess let's just pick a piece of music to put over this. Where's my random music that I've made? I need you to calm down, Mr. Coltrane. I must listen to this. Save Blender before we do anything else, please. How much is this? It's 10 seconds exactly. I need 10 seconds of music. The entire purpose behind this stream is that I watched a video about how cool this animation stuff could be. This is 30 seconds of music. That's plenty. Oh, right. I haven't opened Ableton since I Change my audio shit. Yeah, audio output device.
Nation got a hit. Jesus Christ.
Poltergeist. Oh, that's something else. Okay. Not interested in that. What I'm interested in is something like this, maybe? No, it doesn't save anything. I don't even remember making this. I'm sure we made it on some stream back in the day. Why is this? Oh my God, there's so many random pieces of music in my library. I almost said inventory. It's kind of true. Yeah, that seems fine. The fuck did I do with the master on this? Nothing. Just throw some shit on the master here. My God, I mixed this loud. Just save that and do a little recording. Render as loop, please. 17, 8 bars. We don't need the wave file. Just export that shit. How's rendering? Rendering's done. Render's done. What's this called? Glorious Funk. I just pulled a random thing that I had. I want to put some music to it. We're gonna do this all in Blender. We're gonna make a video. We're gonna make a video in Blender. Beep. I'm gonna make a video in Blender. It's just. Oh God, another timeline thing I have to learn the controls to. I hate it. Let's just put it here. Yeah, I like that. Cool. And then how do I, let's see, split K? My God. All right. So in Ableton, this is Control E, and in Shotcut, this is S. But here, apparently, split is K. So gotta learn it. So, hello, Sacksmith. Hello, welcome to another. I don't want this in the temp file. I want this in the Blender file. Blender file. And we're naming this. What you making today? Well, I'm making a video in Blender. That's right. This is going to be Disco Forever. It's going to be called Disco Forever. We're going to save it as a video. White video. You want to save it as a video. View. I'm just going to check something real quick. Export video Blender. Export video editing Blender. Output format FFmpeg video. Encoding container MPEG-4 video codec, audio codec, audio codec. Very good. Then render animation. Wow, it's so much faster. Incredible. Here's the display. Look at that. So much faster, so much cleaner. Now that it's just rendering images and audio at the same time. Yeah. Wow. So cool. So great. A very triumphant pose to end on. Oh wait, did I just? Yeah, no. It should do the thing. I'm warning. I'm warning how Blender works. If I go here, Disco Forever. Disco Forever. Well, I guess that's the result of today's stream. Is this what everybody wanted? Is this what I wanted? It is what I wanted. I don't need your approval. I don't need your approval. It's what I want. Well, I think that's about all that we had to do in Blender today, and we did it. Congratulations, us. Why don't we do some Magic the Gathering? Enter studio mode. Turn on Magic the Gathering. Transition. There we go. Okay. Apparently not. Well, John Coltrane, come back. Very good. You know, I was in somebody's chat the other day, and they were bad mouthing jazz. What the heck? Why they bad mouthing jazz like that? I'm offended. My offense is unreasonable. Absolutely. I'm absolutely floored that someone couldn't love jazz the way that I love jazz. But yeah, apparently I can't. I don't want to check status. I want to close. Close. I want to close. I want to close the windows so I can update my game. We're not going to sit through the updates. My name's Isaac Anzu. Let's wrap this up. We did the thing. We found the animation button. It was very nice. So who we waiting tonight? There are a few people on that I respect and admire. However, a lot of people this time of night are not not streaming for much longer. Oh, but Cybele is streaming Baldur's Gate. That seems good. Let's go there. All right. Back to here, and let's just do a little Wade message. Wade message. If you're still in chat, grab that Wade message, and let's go Wade, the friendly chameleon, Cybele, who waited us not too long ago. Oh, wait. She just saved. Is she quitting? Let me check. maybe we wade Zybal. I don't know. Anybody else have someone else to wade? Yeah, she is done. Please don't wade me. Please don't wade me. Quickly. Someone else to wade. Oh, Dowu, of course. Let's wait Dowu. I know he just started. A mere half hour ago, and playing Ark Survival Ascended to Wunderbar. Before the music gets sad, let's go Wade. So Wade's channel, Do Woo. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching me as I figure things out in Blender. Ooh, Blender. Also, thank you for Corey Caesar for the Wade. Let's go check out our good friend Dogu. And I'll catch you next time. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the Bitcoins bite. Until next time, farewell.